Welcome to the Hybrid Color Podcast. Back with Kyle Arambiro here. And we have ChemTrack with us today. Carrie, Jenith, hello.
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 How you guys doing?
So good. How are you?
Good, wonderful. So let's catch up a little bit.
I know.
Yeah, what have you guys been up to?
Holy smokes. So we're rounding out kind of work-wise, rounding out the end of our season, coming into November. We're an environmental company, so things start to slow down a little bit for us in that regard. Some of our construction projects are still going, but as far as the environmental sort of things, we're slowing down a little
We'll
bit.
talk about the company later. I want to know what you guys have been having in your personal lives going on.
Oh, you want to get there
yeah,
right away.
Let's talk hockey. Let's talk the dogs.
Jenith, take it away.
Just got back from a golf trip, Hawaii. It was great. Just had a little warm up before winter sets in.
Awesome. How'd you golf?
Don't
want to talk about it?
Not the best, but it was fun. I had a great time. Great time.
It's hard to go from this summer into like where we didn't get to golf much out to just all of a sudden go hit them straight. I feel. I'm just backing you up. I'm sure you were great.
It was good.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, it was 6 under par. Nobody's
going to check your car in Hawaii. Just lie, Jenna.
Just lie, Jenna.
Like, you know what?
Crushed
I
it.
might be on the tour pretty soon. Just saying.
I'm coaching a lot of hockey.
Yeah,
so
I noticed.
Yeah, I'm in that a ton. I coach the 14U Tier 1 Team Alaska team that my daughter's on. So we've been traveling. We've already had 2 tournaments out of state. It's taking up a lot of my time, but it's such time well spent. I'm absolutely in love with coaching this team. They're a great group.
And you've won every tournament you've went to?
So we didn't win in Massachusetts. It was such a strong field. We won 3, tied 1, lost 1, and still didn't advance. Like, that's how great it was. It got down to points for against, and we didn't advance. But the Dallas tournament, we brought it home. We took that one down. So
what was that like for the kids?
they were so jazzed. It's awesome to come out of state, and just absolutely nail it. It was great. I mean, there was competition, but the championship game, shots were even. It was a great skate. We came out on top. Really a great team that we played against. But yeah, they were fired up.
Hockey's different. Like, I played baseball, and when we leave, we absolutely get our asses kicked. Whereas hockey, like, we're a hockey state, so we actually can go out and compete.
We can run with everybody.
Yeah, we can. It's neat. In the girls leagues, it's interesting. There's not a huge league here for the girls for us to play against per se. So when you look at national rankings, we don't have a ton of games. We're ranked 23 in the nation right now, which is pretty great for the lack of games that we have. So then when we go outside and win a tournament, it's really helpful. It kind of boosts us up. So we're leaving again for Chicago, Chi-Town in December. So again, early December.
We're going to Detroit in January to see the Oilers play my Red Wings.
That's sick. Both you going?
And
my
Trajan.
Oilers play his Red Wings.
Oh, okay. I
like the possessiveness.
I see a bet coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we got a nice business connect with the Red Wings directly. So we're going to get like the once in a lifetime treatment.
Oh, sick.
Locker room, and hopefully he gets to meet McDavid or something, make his trip worthwhile after the loss. So anyway,
that face got
jokes. He got jokes.
That face got captured.
Yeah. No, we all know. I'm just talking to
I'm a Kraken fan over here. I
Are
jumped
you?
in. Yeah, I've got. Hey.
I mean, it makes sense. Proximity. Let's go.
We have season tickets, right? Proximity. I flew down quite a bit last year and watched those games. It was awesome. I mean, way to go, Seattle, to take on this team. It's cool.
Oh, yeah,
We've enjoyed it. Climate Pledge, they nailed it. Beautiful facility now. We've been enjoying that.
Who was your team before?
Oh God, good question. So growing up, I loved Toronto. I was a Maple Leafs fan. That was a thing for me.
Trajan. Shout out Trajan.
Trajan's like, yes.
And then I was lucky enough to grow up the same era with Scott Gomez. We grew up playing together, and so I followed him. I was a fan. I'm where are you at now? I was Devils fan, then I was a Rangers fan, and then Tampa, Montreal, kind of quick blip. But yeah, absolutely supported our local friend when we didn't have like a team.
For sure.
I feel like a lot of people don't know how big he really was.
How big of a deal that was.
I think when you're from Alaska, you're like, oh, he's from Alaska. That's cool. But if you were somewhere else watching him play, you'd be like, dude, he was legend status. Absolutely.
He changed the game. He played completely differently. Just a phenomenal skate player. And what he did for his community now back here is incredible. But yeah, he's a big deal. I mean, the things he won, Stanley Cups, Rookie of the Year. And the era that he played in, kind of the older classic NHL compared to what we have now, which is great. We're always evolving, but yeah.
Why are hockey players, especially professional hockey players, such good storytellers?
I don't know if it's a locker room, like that locker room mentality. And you have to be a storyteller, like, or they'll cut you off. There's no holds barred. If you're telling a shitty story, they're like, yeah, okay. And then they take over. But he's Knight at the Apollo every time.
Oh, for sure.
One thing I noticed, they always, no matter what, use first and last name of whoever they're talking about.
Scott Stevens. Right.
Every time. Every hockey player.
Yeah.
Or their nickname.
Or their nickname. But it's very specific.
Yeah.
And that doesn't convert for other sports, I feel.
The nickname game is so strong. Like when I played college hockey, I had my nickname on campus, and then coming back here, I was Carrie. I'm like, yeah, who's Carrie?
Yeah.
Like, where?
What was your nickname in college?
Jokes.
Jokes? That's tight.
That is a sick nickname.
Thanks. It was a good one.
Yeah, Jokes, dude. Yo, faster Jokes. She got it.
Is she funny?
Yeah, that's tight. That's tight.
Jenith, what was your nickname?
Jay-Z.
Why do
Jay-Z.
you guys have the coolest effing nicknames around?
Seriously.
Jesus.
Damn, Jay-Z.
Jokes and Jay-Z
dude.
over here. Like,
You know?
We're going to have to put their identifiers on the screen.
We need to work on ours. I don't know. I have an embarrassing quick story, and then we'll get into business. There was a death in Little League somewhere in the nation that my mom read about from a pitcher hitting a batter, and his heart stopped, and he died. So my mother went and purchased a vest, like a protective vest.
How old were you?
Thank you, Mom.
That she encouraged that I wear, that I was absolutely embarrassed by and got made fun of. But my nickname growing up was Robo because of it. So definitely not Jay-Z or Jokes at all.
But good job, Mom, and cool that you wore it. It is. I have this conversation on the way to school with Will. There's kids waiting outside for the bus dressed in all black. There's no snow. It's dark. I'm like, you'd be in a safety vest, 100%. She's like, no. I'm like, 100p. I did not see that kid right there. Like, that's mom mode. That's cool.
But not for the cool, trying to be figure my life out boy.
Go Robo.
Yeah. Okay. Should have never told that story.
Great.
That was a mistake.
Super
Just
pumped right
fucked
now.
myself.
Yeah. We're gonna use that one, man.
Me too. How fired up are
That's
we?
That's a real content.
All right. Anyway, back to business. Glad we could catch up and break the ice there. So what do you guys think of the podcast format so far?
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. Your space is great.
Thank you.
She missed the boat. Yeah, absolutely. We didn't quite know what we were getting into.
Yeah.
And so that's cool.
The best part.
Yeah.
That's
And
just
she
cool.
I think she thought I was like messing with her. I'm like, no, I don't know either. She's like, do you not know? I'm like, no, I'm not surprising you. So I don't know. Like, I also don't know.
To be honest
I'm
with
like, Carrie, what do we prep for? I don't know.
She's like, are you bringing a notebook? I'm like, nope.
We prep.
I'm bringing no things.
So we've done this a bit now, so it's different. But before we were trying to just shoot from the hip and see how it worked, and it wasn't working. And then we got very formatted, and it worked better. But then Kyle started throwing in curveballs like, we're not planning it. And now we've done it so many times that it's more organic and better.
For you guys, we're here brand new. Like,
No, that's good.
format. I'm like, oh, okay, guys.
I thought we were number 3 in special.
Okay. The first company was out of Arizona, which was a childhood friend of Kyle's that was here for the wedding. So that gets a pass.
Here. No, yeah, he was here for a wedding.
Hilltop Ski Area
Okay.
requested it. So
Cool.
you guys are actually our first guest that we've requested. So we're at the number 1 spot now.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just turned
Hearts.
number 1. Went from 11 to 3 to 1.
Yeah. that
11
was
to 6 to 1. Yeah.
great job.
Yeah.
Well played.
Total
Jenith is
recovery.
like, okay, now I'm much more comfortable. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I'm sure. I looked up though.
Is that me? That's your iPad? Your mom's calling. Your mom.
That's fantastic.
Oh,
Robo.
Mom, we're on the podcast right now. You're on speaker.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
She's really sick right now. So she was probably just like, I'm alive.
Is that what she said?
She's like, I'll call you back. Or she probably just knew I was working and jumped off quick.
I love that she called even and
Do we
just told
need
the
to
story.
pause? Do we need to pause?
To call my mother? No.
She's fine.
She'll
here all
she'll
the time.
text me. She's here like every other day bringing us lasagna and donuts and
I love your mom.
jerky
There's
and
a ton of pastries if you guys are
oh
interested.
my God.
Does she need our address?
Yeah, seriously. Drop by ChemTrack.
Yeah.
She's retired and she's the best mom on earth and just likes to fill her time, and she calls us all her boys, and it's like letting her be mother
That's
on
so
steroids.
sweet.
So it's great.
Good
She
job,
takes
Mom.
care of the studio. Let's go.
It's a bit embarrassing on socials because she's like the first one to like everything we post and the first one to comment, of course. And like,
It might be me.
you're doing so
That's
great.
what you want, dude.
You guys
That's
are
the stuff you
awesome. It's
want,
like,
dude. Just embrace it.
I always knew you
she's here
would,
for
son.
a limited
Yeah,
time.
right. It's just, it's it's a bit much.
When she's gone, you're gonna be like, man, this sucks.
I know. Can we not talk about it? I'm not trying to get emotional.
Yeah, see, he's trying to play hard, huh? He's like, oh, she comments. He's like, thank you, Bob, I love you.
Yeah, see, this was a big mistake.
Yeah,
Talk about Robo, and then my mom called.
Just got
I'm so happy right now.
I know you are.
This is the ChemTrack roast of Jesse McCarty.
The surprise is on you. We actually all met before this.
Yeah,
Huge
I actually,
mistake,
Jenith and I, we all had a little powwow before this, knowing that you sent an email to meet up. So,
okay.
yeah.
Cool. Anyway, so yeah, talk to us about ChemTrack. Who the heck are you guys?
ChemTrack. And people that don't know, the world is going to see who you guys are.
Jenith, would you like to kick it off?
Absolutely. So ChemTrack Alaska is an environmental company. We also do construction, women-owned small business. We have multiple designations from the SBA, from the state of Alaska. We perform work all over the state, top to bottom, left to right. Did some great work this year up in Kaktovik, returning a beach area to its pristine state. Had polar bear guards. I think the top count one night was, or one
9?
day, I think it was 12.
Oh man,
12 polar bears?
Yeah,
12. And so we had active bear guards on site, and our crew knocked it out of the park, which is awesome. We still have a crew performing work right now, just over at Anchorage International. And so we're doing some cool PFAS work, which is an emerging contaminant. But ChemTrack has been around for more than 40 years in the state of Alaska. Had a huge crew working on the Exxon Valdez oil spill, over 250 individuals working for ChemTrack, cleaning up the shoreline, and did amazing work in the 80s. And then now continue to do excellent work for multiple agencies and prime contractors. We work both as a general and a sub.
yeah, she nailed it. That's our history. Definitely started for over 45 years ago, and did a big project on the Exxon oil spill, which was I was little, right? I was like 9. I'm like, Dad, why aren't you at soccer? So that
talk to us about the second generation and that connection.
Yeah, amazingly, I am an only child brought up as a daughter of an entrepreneur contractor who immigrated here from Germany and started this company along with another partner and got into mostly construction work from the beginning on and did a lot of projects around town. And then as that shifted, we all went through a big dip in the 80s, and then the Valdez oil spill happened, and they had this brainchild of this Omni sweep that they used, and they were able to hire a lot of commercial fishermen that were out during that season. So it was this kind of a good story where there were folks that were put out from work, but we were still able to bring on and hire them and have some sort of income while that was going on, and helped clean up the sound. So that was, like I said, I was a little girl at the time. Why my dad was like one of the most important people in my hemisphere planet, just a great man, and finally figured out, now that I'm older, what was going on in the history of that, and came into work at ChemTrack on my own. 20 years ago. Started off putting binders together, and learned a lot from him. Went back to school a couple times, and really started leading us down the path of Department of Defense work. Really found that it's heavy duty for folks that are in federal contracting. It's no joke, but it's very consistent. So they're a client that expects a lot, a customer that expects a lot, but they also give you a lot of guidance on how they want it done. And that consistency was attractive for me as a strategy to go after more work.
When was Exxon? Do you remember the year?
89.
89. Like, I was like 5.
Yeah.
But right. I still remember it. I still remember it being like a huge
global
deal.
thing. We weren't here, and I knew about it.
Right.
We lived in Texas. I mean, oils.
It turned Alaska's economy around. As terrible as an event it was, it turned the economy around.
Yeah. I think that used to be maybe an unpopular statement, but it's fact. I mean, it really did.
In what way? What do you mean?
Good.
So oil had crashed. People were turning in their keys. Mm-hmm. There was high interest rates. There was all sorts of things happening.
Banks were failing. Companies were failing.
Prior.
And then high unemployment. And so then there's this disaster, and money floods in the state. Mm-hmm. To mitigate it and to clean up the coastline, and then of course to make amends with the fishermen and the fisheries. And so it was a big deal. It was a big financial tidal wave of a turn.
Wow. Is that when they started establishing a lot of those sustainability programs around the fishing and stuff was based off that, or what?
I don't know about that answer for the fishermen, but I do think it started to bring in the next level of diligence for tankers, for captains.
Double
and identified probably the chink in the armor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
oh, whoa.
Yeah.
This could happen.
This could happen.
No, and there was a lot of entities that were formed afterwards so that like booms are positioned in case something happens.
Right.
Oh.
Being proactive now as opposed to reactive.
And you guys were involved in that? I mean, ChemTrack was.
ChemTrack
you guys were there.
Yeah, we had a huge presence with that. It's kind of a neat story. We had, because things had gone so poorly for a long time, just personally in our family, the conversation was getting down. My dad had a 185, like a lot of folks up here, right? We're the state with the most planes. It's like a car for a lot of people. And my mom kept saying, Zig, you're going to have to sell the plane. Like we're down to the wire. Like we're going to have to put the house on the market. Like you're going to have to sell the plane. He kept saying, make the plane payments. And then this oil spill happens, and he and his two partners came up with this idea of an omni sweep late at night, drew it out. I mean, my mom made the model with like lifesavers were stuck on for the safety light, like actual the candies, lifesavers, right?
Yeah.
No way.
And he flew in the plane to Valdez and pitched it, and was awarded this contract. And it like that story of if he'd sold the plane, he couldn't have gotten there, and all this happened. And he it just was a crazy small entrepreneurial story.
That's dope.
That's awesome.
Dude, I love family. Like the family business aspect is so interesting to me. Just like because I always wonder that, like, what did you all? Because we've worked with a few family businesses, for example, Alaska Sausage and Seafood. So we do a lot of work with them. So we totally know their story. But for you, did you always think this was going to be your next step, or did you like kind of fall into it with your dad, or was it just in your blood? I mean,
Great question. I think that I didn't think I was going to end up here. I went off to college, played college hockey, was sports broadcasting. That was my major, right?
Right. We talked about that.
So complete different jam than this. And then moved home, worked at the hockey rink, was there, moved back to ChemTrack, like I said, putting together binders, and then really started to see this culture of the company, and they were flying by the seat of their pants, as Alaskans were, right? Sure. That's what's so exciting about up here. We still do have that ability, right? Yeah. But they were just going for it in remote work and making stuff happen and flying as 185 into places. And I think I came in, went back to school for an MBA, went back to school for project management masters, and tried to bring in like some more policies and procedures and putting in some budgets in place, and found my niche. Because I'm not an engineer or a scientist, so found my niche in the business management side of things. And then I felt like satisfied in where I was going. But before that, I thought I was going to go, I don't know what, be on ESPN or something, talk hockey, be a commentator somewhere.
What's crazy is like, just as an example, like where was your father when, I guess in his knowledge of oil cleanup when that happened?
Yeah.
Like, how do you just figure that out? And if there was an Exxon Valdez, God forbid, today, how would you guys say, hey, we're going to approach this?
That's an awesome question.
So we're working with the Coast Guard right now. We're on a basic, it's called the BOA contract. And so we're on their call list, their emergency call list. And so there's a few contractors in town. And so they would call us and they'd be like, hey, we have this event. Come help.
Yeah. It's a cool contract where we fit in. There's other entities on this contract as well. So what she was talking about before, how there's now boom stationed around the state for something were to happen that would affect imminent waterways. That company would be called for that. We get called in when there's like a derelict boat that could have some lubricants and oils that are going to start to put out into the water. We'll get an emergency call to come in and contain that. It's a cool contract to be on.
Or random drums washing up on the shoreline.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
In Utqiagvik or wherever.
Yeah. There was one in Golovin where there was starting to have some erosion and these drums were coming out because back in the day, I mean, it's no secret the DOD would bury drums. That's how they got rid of stuff. So that was the MO. So there was
usually at the end of a runway.
Buried drums of
contaminant.
Yeah. Thank you. And so the Coast Guard will call and say, we need to get this out of here before it gets into the waterways for the people. So we still get to respond to that. How those guys came up with it, it's so brilliant to me that they took, an engineer, a chemist, and my dad, who was another engineer, sat down, and probably over some beers and pizza, and came up with this idea.
High pressure, hot water, soap.
Yeah, exactly. So it was this like
booms
barge that came out and had a high pressure. I think it was like 10 or 20 PSI that would come out and spray down the rock. And then they had boom coming around. It would collect all of that oil that came in, which then they'd bring on. And it was all commercial fishermen that were hired to do this. So they're like welding stuff together. I mean, shoot, I was on a flight to Fairbanks a year ago and said my last name. And this guy was like, I was a welder. Your dad would fly in and like, show me how to, he would hop out and like get on, like show me how to weld some stuff. And then would like hang out for a bit. It was so cool. And I'm just like, man, he's what a dude, you know?
See, it's dangerous telling us these stories because now we're like, we need to tell this story. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys heard, but Herb Eckman just passed away.
No.
Yes.
Herb, this is Herb Eckman.
Yeah.
Just tell him Herb sent you.
Yeah.
I'm sure the German community is feeling that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We were pretty honored to get to tell his story for them on that subject. And that was really cool to dive into where he actually came from.
Yeah.
You know, escaping from World War II as a child and his journey and the huge family he created was pretty awesome.
Wow.
So, yeah, when you tell us old stories like this about your dad or, you know, what that all entailed, that's fascinating to us.
Yeah. Thank you for telling the stories and for what you guys do. That's huge.
Appreciate it.
I would love to hear Herb's story. That is...
we can just send you the link. We got to tell the whole thing.
Yeah, we put a video together for his memorial. It was awesome.
I would love to see that.
Well received. It was crazy. It was in Change Point. There's probably 350 to 400 people watching it.
I'm always fascinated by just old Alaska.
Yeah.
You know, even with Herb, I didn't know Herb, but Herb was such a part of the old Alaska culture when I was a kid. You know, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have 50 channels and streaming. We had YouTube, the radio, and we had about 6 channels, as I remember.
Right.
You know, so hearing his voice so often, just tell him Herb sent you. You know, it's like, it was such a big deal for us.
It would be really interesting to hear what he thought about when he moved here. So my dad's story is really similar. Escaped World War II, little boy, 5 years old, on a train. I mean, Russian army coming in, talking where my Oma had
didn't even think about the German connection.
And so he was in the Russian area, so Russian occupied. So he was in the same Russian occupied.
Yeah.
Wow.
My Oma played deaf and dumb.
No way.
And then my dad came in and one of the soldiers had a bunch of watches up his arm. And my dad turned to his mother, his Mutti, and says, Mutti, and auf Deutsch said all this, like, look at all the watches on his arm. And so it was clear at that point that she wasn't deaf and dumb, because she'd been just kind of playing that so that she would. Oh. And so she packed them up that night and took them on a train, my uncle and my dad, out of there to go find my Opa, who was in a different part of Germany. But that whole story, and then moving to Alaska, this young, not even a state yet, barely young area, and all this vast ability and entrepreneurship. I wonder if it sparked.
Wow,
it'd be cool to cross those two.
Yeah, it would be. I hadn't even thought of that.
Sparked all this entrepreneurship and this like vast state of what can we do when you came from this tight knit spot, that was very regimented and growing up in a certain way. And then it would just be interesting to see that.
Yeah,
I would find that fascinating too.
I've just always been like my grandfather, my mom's side of the family's from Canada, from Edmonton. And he came up here by himself for years to build the highway, and he was a trucker. And my mom always tells me, like, we'd write him letters, and he'd send us juicy fruit in the mail, and we thought it was the greatest thing, right? And then my mom comes up here, and she tells me, like, oh, yeah, like, Diamond Boulevard was a dirt road, and it was like, you're going to Diamond? It
Edge
was
of
like,
town.
Yeah,
you're driving to
It was like
Diamond?
driving to Girdwood or something, the way they describe it.
Yeah.
It's a rough journey. You better bring reinforcements.
There was no Minnesota. You were years ago. There's no Minnesota.
Yeah,
I mean, there was like
Minnesota's new.
sand buggies like driving around out there. Like there was no Minnesota when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel very lucky to kind of be in that between time.
Yeah.
Alaska's, or Anchorage specifically, has changed a ton.
Yeah. It's an interesting time in our town. It's a really interesting time in our town. I think we've got, we're at a cool era now to be some of the change agents of what we want to see for our kids or for people coming up and through. I mean, we're kind of mid in my career, I guess. I know enough and have a couple scars and a couple war wounds, and to be able to have that 2 degrees of separation from folks that can help make change or at least have a conversation around it. I think we're in a really neat era, or I don't know if neat's the right word, but we're in a conversation piece point for our city, at least in Anchorage, I feel like.
Yeah, I think the world's in a crazy, the world as a whole is in a crazy spot. And I'm not going to go down that path, but like.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, even and that's kind of what spawned this whole idea of this podcast for us is like, we started to notice, I mean, I'm sure as you know, like you guys have a long history, but for us, you know, being in business 10 years, for the first, 5, we're like, is this even a viable business? Can we stay afloat? And then for the next 2 or so, it's like, okay, let's refine. But now that we're at 10, I feel like we're finally starting to be like, okay, we're finding commonalities with other businesses that we're working with. We're seeing where we're offering value. And
we're expanding our services. I feel like by the day.
Well, to your point, Kyle, it is so, that's 10 years. I mean, congratulations. To stay afloat for 10 years is a big deal. To stay afloat for over 3 years is a big deal.
Yeah. In any business.
I had somebody say that to me and they were like, you've been around over 40 years. I mean, the amount of like grit and gut and tears and hair pulling out of just like, how are we going to do it? The constant like tiger team problem solving. It's amazing. So congratulations on a 10-year mark. That is incredible. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited about it. And like, that's where like, even I took this opportunity to be like, yo, let's like, some businesses I feel like get into a scenario where like, we know what we're doing, but I'm like, we just got to keep evolving. Yeah. Like, cause the world's changing fast. We're changing, you know, what can we do? And it's been super exciting to try new stuff like that. Because some years, as we know, you know, some years you're in business, you're like, that year was like, I mean, obviously 2020 was crazy, but like there's certain years where you're just like, I don't know. But like, I feel like now we're starting to really churn.
And ride that, you know, my dad had this saying and he'd say, cycle through it. And it is a cycle. Mm-hmm. And to know that the hard times will come again. We're not out of it yet. Right. No. But like
prepare.
But prepare, but also enjoy when it's good.
Yeah.
Because
totally. You got to celebrate your victories for sure.
It's not always, you know, those good days. I mean, I think, you know, just to speak candidly, like coming into a spot of hopefully a little bit more of a calm. We've been wound pretty tight with, you know, similar small business stories, trying to make it all work and how you do that with banking and bonding.
Carrie's like, Jesse, I love you, but like hit me up in November.
Yeah, right. I was like, I'm struggling, you know, we busy.
Yeah.
But that idea of now, like, getting a little bit of a calm feeling or allowing that calm. I just said this to her on our ride to lunch. We go to lunch every Thursday. I was like, I'm allowing a little bit of calm to come in and trying to, protect it.
That's awesome.
Like, come in.
So healthy.
I think as business owners too, you're always trying to foresee the future. You know, it does ebb and flow. It is feast or famine sometimes, but like not long ago, Kyle's like, man, we got to figure something out. Like summer was great, but now we're in this like lull, and he's like getting nervous, which is to be expected. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, dude, embrace it. It's season transition. Everyone's winterizing their outside and getting stuff put away and getting prepped. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, now we're like overwhelmed with work.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like we got to hire someone quick.
That flow, you know.
I'm hearing a lot of people say that uncomfortableness, like that means you're doing something. That means you're evolving.
Oh yeah.
If you're uncomfortable or you're like nervous, like that's because.
Well, you fight best with your back against the wall.
If you're not nervous and you're just like, what's happening? Like, what's going to happen? There's a runway or there's a seat, you know, at some point you're going to, fall off. But if you're like, okay, what are we going to do? I want to anticipate. How far do we got this road? Can we get that far? You know what I mean?
I've just learned, I've learned to embrace the break.
Yeah. Like, no, that's it. That's how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to feel like that.
Both of those are important, which is probably why you're great partners, you know, but it's important to say like, go rest. Rest is a weapon. Like you have to rest. If you don't allow yourself that opportunity to rest, to have a strong temple, to put yourself first. I've always wanted to combat the word selfish, and I think it's turning into self-care.
Yeah.
Which is important.
You got to have fuel. You got to have fuel.
Or you're just fuming out, you know, but that's important. But also that uncomfortable point. I've been really working on trying to figure out that I don't have to have this like level of anxiety to have this level of success.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it
is.
Those don't have to be.
They don't have to correlate.
Yeah.
We can have anxiety but you know, I want to learn to separate those better. But I feel like if I don't feel this gut, I won't get here. I'm not recognizing some pinpoint I should, but I'm not sure that's how I want to maintain. So yeah, that's something that's a work on.
It's interesting how you figure that out. And I think we all have different perspectives, but I'm constantly being hard on myself that I'm not doing enough, that I'm not grinding hard enough.
Yeah.
And my girl will be like, you're probably really tired because you do the same thing every day. And I'm like, I'll go home and sit on the couch and watch a movie for like 2 hours before I go to bed. But then I'll even text Kyle at night at like 1 a.m. and be like, you up? And he's like, yeah, what's up? And I'll be like, mind dump of everything that has caused me not to be able to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a hard time particularly managing that. You know what I mean? And I was even telling the boys today, we had another shoot between the first podcast and this podcast on the way back. I'm like, do you guys ever like get plenty of hours of sleep and you still wake up exhausted?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what that is.
I've been really trying to honor sleep. I mean, that's become like keeping the nervous system down. I will do a lot of things to protect my nervous system and my sleep. Like 9 p.m., I'm turning into that. I'm like, yes, like I'm so excited. I think the sleep it matters so much. I mean, it's being shown in all these studies for later in life, mental cognition, how to avoid Alzheimer's, dementia, all of that. Like it's how we treat ourselves now will affect exactly who we are when we're in our 60s and 70s. So it's important to pay attention to that. You don't text me at 1. What?
Do you want me to?
Yeah. No.
It's like maybe.
FaceTime,
It's
girl.
like, no,
I'll FaceTime you at 1. That'd be better.
Because you guys are physically together and still
Yeah.
awake.
Right? Like, where are
At
you?
ChemTrack bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, exactly.
My girl's like, who are you calling now? I'm like, I gotta call Kyle real quick.
I gotta get this out.
Yeah, it's just,
Before
I don't know.
Before I forget.
How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
I try to work on 8. I do, at least.
See,
I'm more of a 6.
Yeah. See, I've always had this like weird thing where I don't want the day to end, and it's ended at midnight, of course, but I'll stay up. I need to get the most out of every day. And I feel like I get 6, but again, sometimes I get 10 and I still wake up tired.
That definition of most is interesting though. Like, are you getting most at 20% because you're tired, or would you get,
I don't know.
Like
Right
that,
now,
like,
I'm having a hard time figuring that out.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool self-research, point for the next year.
We don't want this to turn into a counseling session, but
Yeah.
It's
Like,
cool.
is there a
people
couch?
People like this stuff. I'm
I
telling
think
you. You'd be
business owners,
surprised.
Is there a couch?
Because it's like, yeah, seriously, we got plenty of couch.
Yeah, no kidding. I see it.
We got couch for days.
I will take a nap occasionally at work. I just have to. I can't go anymore.
Yeah.
But I look tired too. Another thing is like, people are like, man, you look tired. And I'm like, thanks.
Rude.
I am.
That's a
No.
horrible sentence.
Don't love
Don't
that.
ever say
yeah,
that.
no, say that to a woman. That's for sure.
Facts.
I feel like don't say it to a man either. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
kinda, I think it's kind of jacked
Pushback.
up.
Yeah, I like that
You know what I
pushback.
mean?
Yeah, just don't say it.
Yeah,
Like,
don't say
yeah,
it. It's kind of rude.
it is rude. Yeah, you look tired.
Like,
Oh,
define tired.
Like I realize I look tired and it hurts me, but
Yeah.
it's what I do and what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
should I be a lazy man that sleeps all the time and doesn't do it? Shit.
And like, how do you respond to that?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Rude ass.
Yeah, I think we might need to come up with a
is
push.
is it the bags? Is it?
Right.
Yeah, you don't think
The
I notice
disjointed
the fucking bags
sentences.
every morning
Yeah.
and every night?
You buy me a coffee, or what are we doing here?
Thanks.
Yeah, seriously. I'm looking for solutions here. Not
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
you're
you know
useless.
what we should jump into? Let's talk about when we like some of our work we've done work together.
It was so great because I've got to work with you several times.
Yeah.
And so Carrie and I were up for an award, and ChemTrack was up for an award. And so it was like, okay, we have to have a video. Who am I going to call? I'm going to call Kyle. I'm going to call Hybrid. And it was great working with you. And the process and the end product was excellent. It was so fun to have you guys in the office and have everybody tell the story. And it was great to see the end product, and we've been able to use it in multiple kind of scenarios.
Absolutely. Yeah, we had the best video at the deal. We didn't bring home the prize, but I was like, whatever.
What you said, Jenith, was really nice.
The fix was in.
The fix was in. Yeah. Cut that
Thanks
part
for
back.
saying such kind words. Appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And I didn't know about you guys yet. I knew you from seeing you at Wolverine stuff.
Yeah. That's
And then
right,
when you made the
hockey
connection
angle.
with Will.
Oh, you're Will's mom.
My daughter.
Oh, you're Will's mom.
Oh, my daughter. She was just like, yes. I was like, baby, I just got introduced as Will's mom. And she was like, yeah, just all excited.
Oh yeah.
But that was awesome. The experience was incredible to have you come in our office and make our space, and like everything that the product that came out of that was just so pro. It was something that we hadn't done before. It was a really neat
That's
experience.
interesting. And even like, it was probably kind of a crazy, we come in and we look at your space and then we even, set up the interviews and kind of identify what we're going to shoot and how we're going to shoot it. Maybe it makes you like look at your space a little different.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Yeah. What you saw, I was like, oh, okay. Like the way you position things. Yeah. It was cool.
Like it is cool. Like coming toward that like conference room, so cool. Like you guys have that look, the conference room with the windows, and it's like in that box, and it just like looks all symmetrical and filmic, and it's like, man, this is like cinematic. It just makes the whole like vibe of ChemTrack feel a certain way.
I don't think clients realize how much we enjoy figuring them out.
Yeah.
And exploring who they are, as opposed to just, they're bringing some gear in, they're capturing it, and they're leaving. It's like, it's way more than that for us.
Are you telling that story in your podcast? Because even you just saying that little room looks cinematic, I'm like, I would have never seen that. I'm like, I just liked how it looked. But like for you saying that, are you sharing that vibe back? Because it's cool to hear what you come in and think as you're setting up.
That site visit we had, Kyle and I, when we met you guys initially and did the walkthrough, I mean, that makes 90% of our job much easier.
Just to identify who you guys are, get to talk to you and stuff like that. So no, it was fun. And even seeing like, I love seeing, because we know what our space does for us. And I think that when we went into ChemTrack, we felt the same thing.
Cool.
You guys had just done the reno too.
Yeah. You had just,
yeah.
So tell us about that. Like you guys had kind of renovated the office.
Yeah. When did you decide it was time?
Oh, good question. It had been time for a long time. I mean, we had things where we had like old carpet tread worn out and we had stapled new carpet up the middle of the old carpet, like that game.
Yeah, we're leaving that in the pod
for sure. That's a good one.
You know what I'm talking about. Like it was, and we're like, oh, it looks so much better. We were all proud, right? That looks so good. Yeah, good job.
But you guys are a construction company, so you can't do that stuff.
Oh man. Well, we did because it was, that's also, it's like, where are you going to put your money? You're going to put it back into your building? Or are you going to put it into your retained earnings? You're going to put it for the bonding company? You put it for the bank? You're going to keep your people going? Right? That's like the last thing is like coming in and fixing up. The joke is the contractor's house is the last house to get fixed,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we decided to do it when we'd had a good season and then we were getting kind of through the pandemic and people were already out of the office. So we had really hooked people up during the pandemic. We were like, here is ergonomic chairs, desks, all the things. We want you to be able to work well from home and be comfortable.
That's cool.
So we were like, all right, everybody's already out. Like, let's do this now. So we have a joint venture with Cornerstone General Contractors and we're like, what an awesome past performance job. What a way to keep people working because we don't want to lose people. I mean, we're in an employer's market right now, right? And we want our folks to stay. So we were able to bring them in and fix up our pad. And so then when everybody came back, I mean, one of my favorite stories is our senior site super, Chris. He's just diehard. Would do anything for you. I love him so much.
Hold on. What did you just say his name was?
Chris?
No, you said super.
Senior site super.
Site super.
Oh, okay.
He's a senior site superintendent.
Okay.
He literally went out and bought shoe booties for anybody that came in.
Let's go.
For the carpet?
Let's go.
Right? I mean, my like senior site super guy was just like, hey, I'm glad you're here. So put these on. I'm like, that can't last forever. Like we can't have everybody bring their but it was just that type of pride.
Yeah, no, and I have a story similar to that, and it's actually about Trajan. So Trajan, one time we were actually here and we had done a video for someone that was leaving MCG, McCool Carlson Green.
Yeah.
And they wanted to have an event here and they had champagne and stuff. And we cleaned the space. We had done a lot to get this space ready. And I never forget that like they all had champagne. They had those little tiny like flimsy ass
plastic flutes.
Where the bottom falls off.
Yeah. And so like the champagne was starting to spill out and hit the ground. And Trajan was like, nah. And Trajan like went and got like a towel and like the spray and he was just following people behind and like cleaning our space and like making sure. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. And I'm sure they probably saw him. And it's just like one of those things where I feel like Trajan felt some type of way about the space.
Yeah.
And was like this is our space and he wants to keep it clean, but also it's a show to the client. And like that's a cool to see that.
That care. That like loyalty, that care. I mean, and that you notice, right? Owners, we notice. Owners notice that. You're just like, damn, this person cares like I do. That's a big deal. That's cool, Trajan.
Yeah. Hats off. Like, I don't know if I ever told you that, but that was pretty sweet. I actually noticed you do that, and I was like, damn, that's like what I'm talking about. Because
you should go give him a hug.
Yeah,
I'm getting emotional. I'm like, yeah, that's so cool.
Well, we had a party here. Okay, so I could show the video. Travis,
another party we weren't invited to.
No, you guys are coming to the next one. No, you guys are coming. But
the one where the cops were called.
That one.
Yeah, that was a good one. We had Trav's party here, and bro, like so we started having a couple beverages.
Don't call our clients bro, man.
It's a thing right now.
Yeah, dude,
boy, my daughter will be like, "What's up, boy?"
What's
I'm
up,
like,
cuh?
"Boy, bro,
I'm
brah."
just calling him fam. Like
Yeah.
we basically like we spilled somehow a bunch of booze got spilled, and then we had this genius idea, and let's just let it dry up. So we squeegeed it across this place, and then all of a sudden the next day there is a path of sugar and stickiness across the floor. And I was like, oh,
I love that
thinking?
decision
And
making.
Not only that, but I was filming us doing it because I'm like, like.
It's so creative. Look at what we're doing.
Yeah,
this
like
is so
this is
smart.
cool, man. Look at the background. This is us making things happen.
That's awesome.
Sticky
a
floor.
nightmare.
It just brings you back to
Just
like
a
college
nightmare.
days.
Just a nightmare.
That's awesome, though.
But I mean, you
that's
go
it.
into other spaces in this building specifically, and like, it's kind of a dump because everyone's like, "Oh, it's just a warehouse."
It's a warehouse space.
Who could
Like,
compete with this? This is the gym. I'm like obsessed with this. What's going on the wall over
You're
here?
like,
I'm staring at it like,
I know it's kind of
it's
wild.
mesmerizing.
No, you guys are like, it feels like you're in a loft or like somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice. We really try to put. Yeah, no, it's definitely the space has created a lot of opportunity, and like I don't know if I told you guys this, but I equate it to like a little bit. You know, you like, do you ever absorb things from other clients that you like learn they do stuff, or just I think our work with MCG for so long, and them telling me about space and what it can do and how it makes you feel, and like how that's a part of the identity of even a business. I kind of understood that always. I knew like, yeah, creative business, you need to have some sort of artwork on the wall. You got to kind of look the part. So initially it was like, we got to look the part. And then I was like, okay, well, this is actually doing something for our clients. And then this is like the next iteration. Like, okay, now we're going to take this to another level where it's going to do something for us, our clients, opportunity. We got senior leadership team meetings in here. Like I've told you, like people come in here and want to utilize the space.
People
That's
rent
awesome.
the space and they're like, "This." I feel like it's just a totally.
It's a
kept
one of a
secret.
kind. It's one of a
Yeah.
kind. There's nothing
Anywhere
else
in
like
Anchorage.
this.
No, when you kind of prefaced us a little bit when we were coming over the first time to watch the video, the launch, of which we walked in. I'm like, what the shit, howdy? This is awesome. There's like this big couch and this big screen, and we came in, and I was like, this is incredible. It has a presence. There's a presence when you walk in here. It's cool. I mean, there's definitely a vibe. People said that about our building where they feel when we renovated, we took it was important for me to keep the bones of what was.
Sure.
And so we took a lot of our old pieces and had them refurbished into something new. And people still feel it. It was important to keep that vibe for me of what the spirit of the room,
that's
if
cool.
you will,
That's
the
a
bone
cool idea.
of the room.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's even cool because like, previous clients that know the history of ChemTrack feel something, and then even new, because we walked in there new after the reno. I was just like, this feels like modern and hip and thought out, and
the
like
right
even
places,
that
yeah.
window by the stairs. I'm just like, this is just such a cool like how you get upstairs. Even to me was like, I just like geek out over that stuff. But I really think you guys did a great job.
Thank you. We, so cool short story. There was this old A-frame that my folks built back in the day in Girdwood. And a lot of it was old construction equipment or pieces that like weren't needed on job sites anymore. And so they also staple gunned up all of their carpet samples around the bar, right? Tiny, 600 square foot A-frame. So they staple gun all these things around the bar, different pieces of carpet, right? I mean, shag, we're talking it's 70s.
Sure.
So A-frame falls over after 40 years, right? Just falls over. And so I'm get to be honored to rebuild this place, right?
Whoa.
So I'm going to rebuild and I rebuilt it the same way because once you're in an A-frame, you just love them. But I took that carpet and I kept it and I got it all dry cleaned and I turned it into a rug, which looks like the ugliest rug ever that somebody might be like, oh, that's so avant-garde. Like it's probably $5,000. No, it's all like old as shit carpet samples.
Yeah.
But to the point, people that have partied there for years with my parents come in and they see the rug and they're
Freak
like, that was
out.
around the bar.
that's
That was
awesome.
around the bar,
That's awesome.
and they love it. And it's this like instant vibe of just like, no way, you kept it and you turned it into this. And that inspired the ChemTrack portion of my dad's desk was turned into different pieces of our conference table or,
so sweet.
coffee tables. And so people that are customers for years are like, we feel it still.
Well, it's bridging that gap.
That's
Yeah.
Old and
super
new
cool.
for sure.
It was
That's
cool.
super cool. Yeah, you don't want to get like hold on to those things because those are valuable.
Right?
Have you had kind of, and this is a question for both of you guys, have you had your Exxon Valdez? Is there a project that was very rewarding in your guys' eyes that kind of filled
Maybe even
that?
pass the torch. Or, I mean, I know your dad was there, but then when even, Jenith and you kind of too now becoming the entity, because I know Jenith.
I mean, you guys said you just did like a beach cleanup. Like, what does that entail? And like, how does that feel when you're done?
I'll answer
The photos are so rewarding.
Yeah.
To see what was there and to see how we've left things.
This Kaktovik project was incredible. My dad would always say a project of that magnitude, like an oil spill, I mean, that's a once in a lifetime. And for his lifetime. Have we had ours yet? We may not have had like that level of, they went from 7 people to 250 people.
Holy
in a summer.
Are you serious?
In a summer?
In a summer.
How do you even keep your sanity?
It was wild. So I don't know if we've had that yet, but I do feel
we're prepared for it.
Yeah,
you
I
guys
do.
Are online ready?
You
guys are like, look.
I mean, God forbid, but
no,
that's kind of exciting.
That's a lot.
You can handle it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's
just
a
that
lot.
feeling, like knowing you got all your like even processes in place and leadership and management and all the people like you. We got this.
That is, we're in an.
I feel like your team's like that.
We are. We're in an interesting transitional kind of phase right now with ChemTrack. I'm saying that we're phoenixing. I really love so my daughter and I binged Harry Potter facts. Fair. So go with me on the Phoenix, but we did. We're phoenixing, up and out into this new bird. And I'm really excited about that for us. There's a real opportunity for us in that Phoenix with our processes and our policies that we have in place that we're creating. We have a young, strong team coming in that have been with us, but also some new folks coming in. And I'm really excited for our future. I have a lot of high energy around that. So if a problem like that does come for our state, I think we have the right people to create a tiger team to come up with a phenomenal solution. I don't wish on our state something of that massive of a deal, but
you got people ready. No, I actually have a question. You kind of talked about your team and even bringing on some new people. So let's be honest. I just read an article yesterday or the day before. The state of finding workforce in Alaska is definitely not where we hope it would be. Have you guys done anything or changed any way that you do things, or how do you even bring on new people? What's your strategy? Do you basically try to find the right people?
So as a small business, we have to make the right hire every time. And so it's definitely, interviews with us, interviews with other staff members, technical staff members. It's making sure that if they don't have the credentials, they want to get the credentials. And but the personality component is huge.
There was what was the matrix that we work with an executive coach who's incredible, Christian Muntean. I'd love to give him a shout out because he's that kind of rad. But we were talking about this matrix of ability to drive. So you have ability to drive. So what's the ability and what is their drive? So if they have low ability and a low drive, you're in this lower quadrant.
Sure.
High ability, low drive. Okay. You want to find folks that are, if they have medium ability and high drive, okay, we can work with you. Let's identify what you need because your drive is there to get you up to the upper quadrant.
Sure.
If you basically, it's moving from these middle squares to try and figure out how you can get them up to where you need them to be. So I think we're willing to work with people. I have a 30,000 foot view statement on that. I feel like we have a boomer generation that's retiring. I feel like we have a lot of infrastructure money coming into our country to do things. I feel like we have a lot of folks that are younger stepping up into positions. And I think we need to change our mindset on infrastructure, on how we're going to build the country or even our projects that we're on. We have folks that have 2 to 5 years experience. I think that our proposals need to stop asking for 15 to 20 years of experience. They're retiring. They're not there.
They're not there anymore.
So if we can bring that down, I think these folks with 2 to 5 years experience deserve the opportunity to learn and get there. And we need to recognize that that's who's going to be our workforce.
How does that shift, or how do you move that?
So how
did your trip to Washington go? I never got to fully catch up with you guys on that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Badass. Super badass. And that's exactly how you do it. You sandwich. So here locally, we write letters anytime a proposal comes out that says those requirements, and we ask for them to be reduced per contract, per RFP.
Interesting.
And then we go and we advocate in Washington to say, hey, Associated General Contractors of America, we'd really love it if you could talk to the high-ups at the Corps of Engineers and have them recognize that this needs to drop. It doesn't mean the projects aren't going to be successful, or it just means this is where we are. You have to meet industry or we're not going to have the workforce to do it. So that two sandwich approaches, and then the people that are working here will get the word from here eventually. And then now we've made change.
Oh, yeah.
And there are certain projects where you do need that level of experience, but there are others where you don't. And you can work with people who have less experience to help them gain experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we need to get into that mentor mentality in order for us to be successful at a 30,000 foot view and then at each project level.
Well, in like your guys' space, I think there's always been that, like, if you don't do good in school, you're going to be a plumber or you're going to be a, contractor. Like, and I feel like there's a huge shortage of that now because of that narrative. And
it's a great job.
Like,
it makes money right away.
My plumber is booked out for like 6 months. I can only get plumbing jobs done because he's my friend since we were kids and he pushes me up, but that's it. But every skilled trade person I know is like overwhelmed.
I was hearing some interesting stuff that's going on with our school district here that I think is going to be pretty neat. They're creating academies within the schools to help identify more professions, like instead of the college track. So
no way.
In Germany,
Really?
they have like it's gymnasium, and then they have another school that you can go to, and you identify where you're going to go when you're younger. So if you're going to go on to college, you'd go through one tract. If you're going to not go on to college, you'd go through another tract. So we're starting in our school district here to look at the academies process. So Will at South is in the Civic Liberties Academy. There's also a pre-engineering academy, but they're going to be looking at different based academies that wouldn't necessarily be a college track, but would get you into industry quickly.
Who put that forward?
That's a good question. I was talking,
Some really
I read
smart person.
It was in the latest, was it Journal of Commerce news? And then I ran into Bill Popp, who was with AEDC, who's now just come out. Yeah, he's running for mayor, right? So I was at this thing on base, and he was there, and I got to catch up with him for a moment about it. And he told a really neat story about going to, it was either New Orleans or Nashville. I think it was New Orleans, where they went to the school district there to see a school district that had been doing this already and the impact that it was having on kids and the discussions that they were having and how into it their science project that they had taken on. They were looking at water treatment. These are high school kids looking at water treatment and taking samples and having discussions around it. And it just, they were invigorated. And he said he walked by all the classrooms and he did a quick test where it was people that were sleeping versus people that weren't. And in that school system that was doing the academies, there was more people that were up paying attention. That could be for a myriad of reasons, but his own anecdote was that he felt like because of this program, there was more involvement.
Engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the kids.
I got to do this engagement with this law firm that we work with, DWT, and they just were the first time that the Alaskan law firm has done this program for women. And it's called WAPOC, and it's Women for Advancing a Prosperous Alaska. And it was really cool. And some of the feedback that we got afterwards was just really appreciating the authenticity of yeah, my company's going through this and it's tough. And there's a time to talk about your company, where it's your past performance and what you're doing and your capability statements. But when you're in a room talking with other women-owned small businesses or small businesses and sharing trials and tribulations, that's not the time to be performative.
No.
That's the time to be raw and be like, hey, this is tough. And somebody's like, yeah, here's what I did. And I'm like, oh, to share. That just resonated well. And I appreciate that vibe back from you guys. It makes it helpful.
Totally. And I've met other people that I've talked to where when we're talking about business, they've never told me a struggle with their business and it's hard to connect.
Yeah.
I cannot connect.
Well, because they're like, bullshit.
I'm like, dog, this shit is hard. We out here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So everything's fine.
Yeah, you're not
really?
getting 1 a.m. calls, bullshit, right? That's happening. That's facts. I write it down. I wake up, I'm like, boop, 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 got to get this out, or dreaming about stuff from work. I mean, I'm like, when it crosses over into that realm, I'm like, okay.
Just from a podcast perspective, personally, I would always listen to other entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And I would really love hearing about how they thought about the same shit I was dealing with. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of like you said earlier with the contractor's house is always cared for last. How'd it go?
It's the last to be taken care of. The contractor's house. Yeah.
Part of my big push here was we're always making everyone else look cool. You know, we're always highlighting everyone else. We really got to do it for ourselves. And I feel like this has really given us that platform to do that on. And like Kyle said, somebody connected with it and it came in and was like, hey, like, are you guys looking for somebody? I can really help.
It's even an interesting one because like what happens is, and I've noticed this with a few of our big clients that we've worked with for years, is these unintended outcomes happen when you do stuff like this. Like you can't plan to be like, oh, if we put this out, maybe someone will be like, oh, actually I saw you guys on a podcast and thought that might be a cool place to work. Like that stuff happens.
Yeah.
And not everybody vocalizes that. So it's actually like this idea that we've had use cases in the history of hybrid where we've done this. For example, Winter Project. I always go back to that one, but Winter Project, in order for us to sell that movie and make that movie, we had to put ourselves out there completely. Mm-hmm. And when we did that, it was wildly successful. So like it's kind of a use case. It's like when you know, a lot of people want to be guarded and not talk about what they do or how they do things. But like if you put yourself out there, like people connect.
Yeah.
It happens.
People always saying or advertising saying, oh, we're the greatest and we have the best. And it's like white noise to me.
I hear you.
Always
like, yeah, so does everybody else.
I don't come from a marketing background, which I actually think is hugely beneficial to my point of view. Is I'm trying to think about something completely different that would resonate with me to where I'm like, okay, this person's not bullshitting.
Yeah.
Even if it's negative or even if it's not, like
it's real.
The coolest
I can appreciate
thing.
it.
Real is like, oh, I get that.
And real hurts and real's hard and real's in the trenches. I mean, that's real. And then if you go through that, then you feel the good. But if you don't go through that,
oh yeah,
you don't feel the good. You don't even resonate. That doesn't even relate.
No, totally. I read that. I'm reading that book right now, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. You read that book?
No.
That's a good one. So
Yes.
You have? Yes. Yeah, but you remember he talks about that? He goes, everybody wants to feel good, but guess what? You can't feel good if you don't feel bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have
to
to
take the highs and lows. You got to ride both of them.
Yeah, there's no. And I was like, when he said that, I was like, damn, that's so true.
What do they say when people, oh gosh, I'm gonna screw this up. We'll look it up later. But it's like when people you're going through a bout of unsuccess, you ponder. When you have success, you party. And so that point of ponder is where the real creativity happens. I mean, your natural creativity to creating this came around from alignment of your culture. But if you sat down strategically and maybe tried to figure it out, it may have been not as much of a hit with you guys actually vibing off of who you are culturally and creating this. And now you've got somebody new that wants to work here. You're getting to highlight yourselves. That's all authentic. That's all aligned with you.
Yeah, and we're going to elevate our contractors, which you love you guys. So like we're like, dude, like I just want to like hang out with these people.
I know, that's right.
Like if we find a contractor that I like or like some that we work with, like, you know, regardless of like what the jobs are and what we do together, like just having good clients that appreciate and understand the process. I'm like, I just want to be around that. Cause like we've all swam upstream against the clients and you're just like, oh, this is soul sucking.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That reverb inspiration is fact, though true. That like two-way highway, like it's inspiring to hear your story and have this conversation. And I end up walking away from here motivated. You know, there's other folks, you know, working it and getting after it, and that feels good. Yeah,
and a lot of people do this. Like I know, for example, like you know, for years and years, personally, I was always like, you know, you guys are super active in like activism for your causes. Well, for hybrid, we haven't done a whole lot. We're like, you know, there's these young professional meetings and all these other things, and everybody's kind of talking about things they want to do. But I'm like, I kind of want something a little more intimate where I actually can pick the people and like the people that I really want to hear from.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like similar in that way. I don't know. And then by proxy, we can put this out to the world and a bunch of other people can get it. So it is like the same thing, but just in a little bit different way.
Yeah. Different way to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
That's why we're not in the RFP world either. Cause I'm like, how can I connect with RFP world? It's can't tough. Do it. Talk about soul sucking. I mean, you guys. Well, I mean, Dave. I mean, you guys live in that world. How do you deal with RFPs? RFPs seem. I mean, it's the process you work with for DoD. Is it like?
For us, it's we're in a LPTA, so lowest price
technically acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Lowest price technically acceptable.
LPTA.
So we have to swing every time.
It's that LPTA we struggle with.
There's other ways to do contracting.
And we've pushed back on it, and it's being discussed as not that it's best practices, it's the fastest. And So there's the bidding and there's proposing. When you give a proposal, you'll get to give your past performance. You'll get to write a technical approach towards what you're doing.
Try and sell yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And then price is third, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully third. I mean, it's supposed to be. It's lined out that it's third.
Sure.
So that's one way where you get to really like show your stuff. But on LPTA, they're like, don't give me a Cadillac. Give me a, whatever lesser car value that you choose to say. Give us that. And so where I get
Frustrated
is if you follow that project through all the way to the end and the amount of change orders that whoever won,
changes.
Won, I sure shit, it's really close to what we originally bid. And that's when I get frustrated. So we either knew too much at the beginning and then you play that game. And people play that game. Well, I don't enjoy that game.
No, it's not fun.
It's not fun. It's not fun because it's also a risk.
It's an adversarial. It puts you in a different position with the contracting officer that's more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And then the contracting officer is going to feel some type of way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a tough one. So we'll
give you this low budget, but we're going to go change order up to where we need to be.
Right, and there you are. Then you're constantly
How
changing.
much more time does that all take? Jeez.
Administratively, all the way. Great point. Especially like we're talking about earlier, we're not the only ones understaffed in industry.
Mm-hmm.
The federal side's understaffed too.
Mm-hmm.
So, do we want to go down a road that's more administratively intensive, or can we look at a proposal basis up front, land on the correct number? That may be more expensive, but it's going to stay that number.
Mm-hmm.
And then can't we all budget better knowing that versus having to go find money from all these different pots of money?
Tell you what, I get so frustrated with that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
The amount of spending you see that you're like, why?
Yeah.
I've seen a damn water truck driving in the pouring rain, watering the roads.
Because that contractor was like, I won't get paid otherwise.
Yeah, I know.
I gotta dump some of this water somewhere.
Yeah. Gotta get it out.
I know. Maybe that's just differences in like approaches. Like I've definitely at Hypercolor, we have a approach of like, I want to be straight up honest and this is what we think it's going to take. And this is how we're going to roll with it. Whereas like I do think sometimes people are like, oh yeah, no, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's just tough. Like, and you can't compete with it. Like I can't compete with that.
I don't
being
want
straight up with someone and like having someone else that's lowest bid. Like,
this is the number.
How do you compete with it?
We often
do
say,
you guys have to just make your own number, like based on like, oh, we think this is what the cost is going to be?
We get quotes and then we put a markup on there that would help our company stay alive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
And that's it.
Right? It's pretty simple. And so then when somebody gets it for half of I'm like, have it.
No, we couldn't do that.
Have it for that. There's no way I'm not going to lose money.
Do those projects tend to, have you seen those? Do those tend to end in a way that, like, because you guys do a lot more of that type of work?
We've had to rescue. We've had to rescue contracting officers before.
We've done that.
And so that happens.
That happens too.
We've seen RFPs where it's like, it's a 2-year contract. We need video and, production. We're like, okay, great. How much in 2 years? Like,
how
be
much
out there
production?
every day?
How much production do you need?
No information. They're just like, you're going to be our person for 2 years. Cool. So if I win the bid, I am going to probably go out of business in the next 2 years.
Right. Yeah, that's that risk. How do you assume that risk? I mean, they're asking you to do something. And I do, like I said before, we do enjoy being a federal contractor. There are folks, they don't want to see small businesses fail. That's not their intent. They also, it's called a defense industry base. And there is a lot of movement for small businesses being able to be more agile than large businesses. Yeah. And if we behemoth everybody up, that creativity that we were talking about, this authenticity doing this, you may not get Raytheon in here. You may not get IBM in here. Or are they around still? I don't know. You may not get like,
yes, IBM's still around.
The bigs. You may not get some of the bigs around in here, but like that creativity and agility that we're able to have in the defense industry base matters. Mm-hmm. So they don't want to lose that. Mm-hmm. So don't lose us,
Yeah.
Don't lose us through lowest price technically
and
acceptable.
There's advocates I'm sure you've met within those spaces that are just awesome to work with. For you guys in the DoD space, you're like, oh, I love working with this. What do you guys call them? The contracting officer? Like some people get it, right?
Yeah, some people get it. We've had champions. We've had some real strong champions for us.
For most of like the entities, there's a small business rep. Mm-hmm. And so they are really aligned with small business.
Yep. And the Small Business Administration, we have some really strong folks here. They're called Procurement Center Representatives, PCRs, and they're kind of our bulldogs. So if a proposal comes out and we think it should go women-owned small business or 8A, we have to submit what's called a sources sought. So we submit this, it helps market research for them. Mm-hmm. Then if they don't put it towards WASB, women-owned small business or 8A, we'll ask our PCR, why not? I know we reached out even to our competitors to be like, hey, do the source of SOT, because then they'll put it into our pool and we'll have a smaller pool to bid against. And he'll go look and he'll go find out. And that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really helpful.
Sweet.
But to the small business point, we're having to do all that work. Like, hey, okay, we're going to say source of SOT. And then did they do it? Why did they do it? Okay, let's go talk to you. No, you go talk to them. Okay, now you got to protest that. Okay, that's just all extra energy.
Give us a fighting chance.
That's cool. Well, you guys are doing great. I mean, yeah, ChemTrack, you guys are awesome. And hats off to you guys for even being in that space. And like I said, we've talked to you and got to know you guys, and it's pretty impressive learning all this stuff from you. And yeah, we love it.
Thanks. We love being here. Thank you for you being you.
That's why you were the first company we asked to come on.
So you guys are number one.
Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast. I mean,
thanks
you
for having
have any
us.
closing words you'd like to say, or anything that you want to get off your chest now that you've got the floor?
Hey, no, what a pleasure. Gentlemen, thank you so much for having us in. What a pleasure.
Of course.
Thanks for taking our invite tentatively.
You got it.
I have never seen ever.
He was like,
I've seen yes and no. I'm like, I didn't know Google had that.
He was like,
option.
Jenna said tentatively. I'm like, is she going to come or
keep them
not?
guessing. Keep them guessing, girl.
I was like, I hope she comes, but maybe she won't.
I'm here.
When I sent Carrie the email, because initially she was like, hit me up in September, right?
Yeah.
And then I hit her up in October. I was like, all right, I gave you some extra time, and now it's November.
It was awesome. He's like, I gave
like,
you an extra month. I was like, thanks, dude.
Yeah, the second she held to her word.
She did.
It's only one day off.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.